works. So today, if you are curious about using small spaces to do something big, for me, that's teaching music online. For you, it might be having a podcast studio or a YouTube studio, or maybe just a quiet creative space for yourself, then feel free to listen in. I was teasing to myself that I should have said that this video was sponsored by Venco with salted licorice, because that was what I was enjoying. But if you don't like salted licorice, feel free to unsubscribe. I won't be offended. So, I have been teaching for 27 years piano in person for most of that time. My husband used to tease me that I was a gypsy music studio, as I was always finding spaces to teach. When I was single, I'd be rent somebody's living room to teach out of, or I would rent a church classroom to teach from, or I would teach in my living room, and my roommates were all beautiful and patient, and I loved teaching, and so I always found a way to make it work. Then, as I was getting older, I was like, okay, I'm really going to do this. So I rented a beautiful space in a creative arts community called Tin Town, and I created my first studio. I was teaching music for young children at the time, and my grandparents even were very supportive and helped me with some of the setup for that studio. Long story short, I had a complicated situation with a stalker. That's a video of a different topic. And so I actually left town, and no one but my family knew where I went. I, of course, gave good notice to my students that I could no longer teach. When I came back, I had too many inquiries for private students to fill a group classes, so I decided just to start back and slowly ease into private teaching. I had also started working for Thrifty Foods as a floral designer, so it was a creative time in my early 20s. When I got married, Jeff and I talked about creating a collaborative music studio. So in 2010, we rented this fabulous space. I'll try to add photos, one of these directions for you to scroll through as you listen. And so we rented an actual 900 square foot studio. It had a waiting room and a washroom and an office and 4 beautiful big studio spaces. Our team that joined us there were absolutely fabulous musicians who inspired me each and every day. One of the challenges, though, was that was also the 10 years that I had my children. I had many pregnancy losses, another hard part of my story, with 7 losses in a decade, and then 3 beautiful boys who all came within 4 years and 2 months of each other. At the time, we also had a team of 12 amazing teachers, and at our peak, about 300 students in our small community. So you can imagine I was tired. One of my toxic traits was not finding the capacity to train people for administrative work. When I was in so deep myself, I tended to work late at night, and I thought, I can't train anyone to help me because I don't have daytime hours. So I just kept doing the next thing ahead of me. Jeff did all the payroll and all the marketing and posters, and time I did program directing. I nurtured our team, communicated with students, but I took a break from one-on-one teaching for quite a bit of that decade. I also had a stroke due to a brain bleed condition. It's not laughable. These are real things that happen, and I've had a chance to process them. So now when I hear it all together, I think, wow, those were big things. But I know that you listening in have your own big things. So we're all just finding our way through work and life the best we know how. So come COVID 2020, we all had to adapt. And for us, we thought we can't run a studio unless it's at the peak of all our team working together. And we knew that the cuts that were about to happen, and our beautiful team, that half of them had to stay home with their families, which we supported. We knew we could not have a physical location without our full team, and we were not in a situation where we wanted to hire new teachers out of desperation. So that's where the closet studio began. So many of our educators did stay online as well. They are now back to mostly in-person teaching, and we are still working with 3 beautiful educators. I've not rehired since 2020 because I'm actually loving the ease of being in front of students myself again, spending more time homeschooling our kids, and trying to make sure we have a very clear plan before we move forward. We have many beautiful inquiries for students, and I see that music lessons are still something that is valued in our community, and I am forever grateful for that. So we did not know what to do. We have 3 busy boys, some special needs in the mix, all neurodivergent, and we thought, how am I going to teach if we don't have a space? And we don't even have a space for an online studio. So one day I looked over and I saw these big, beautiful closet doors. We only have a 2-bedroom house with the 5 of us, but I saw my clothes closet and I said to my husband, do you think a piano could fit? And I said, do you think a keyboard could fit? I would need full size. So he said, you know what? Maybe. So we did it. We tried. I just junked all of my clothes out over my shoulders. We tore it apart. We left the Rubbermaid setup that we had. These are very sturdy shelves, by the way. I can link them if you have any questions of anything you see. And there was above ones as well, so I'll give you a closer sneak peek of that. We just slid the keyboard in, and literally it goes to the edge of the carpet. I'm going to show you how this all fits in. So here's an above angle, and let's see. Right here, this was already covered with linoleum. This is the edge of the carpet, and that is where the closet door fits, and the keyboard fits right in there. I have my bench that I pull in, and I tuck it away at night, but in the daytime I am sitting with the bench on the carpet. So the other features of this closet are that I have lots of book storage up here at the top. You can see there's quite a bit. I emptied a bunch of bins, so there's some empty ones because I realize that I share so much music from contemporary composers that my library is going to need to be digitized soon, because there is a lot of music in a closet and overflowing, to be honest. So the next thing I have is I found this great book holder. I think it's maybe a magazine holder, and it is so nice for accessible resources that I use all the time. So that is my quick grab resources. I've used lots of rote teaching from Piano Safari here, but I hadn't been using them as a core method until recently, but I'm actually really loving that. I'm someone who uses a lot of variety in the methods I use, so that's just one of them. So then how we work this is these were bulletin boards from our physical studio. And so my husband was like, I actually think the bulletin boards are going to fit lengthwise as a barrier from the other closet on the other side. And sure thing, he didn't even have to trim those mid ones. And so that's a barrier from top to bottom that divides it. Sometimes I have my certificates hanging up. I do have my ARCT in piano pedagogy from the Royal Conservatory, and I have some conservatory stuff here that I'm diving into with students. I have a very flexible approach to teaching and teach a very big, diverse amount of learners. So that means I do tend to have a broader range of repertoire that I need to draw from, because I personalize the method I use depending on the strengths of the student in front of me. So the next thing I of course have a few beautiful collections here. I was playing last night Sally Greenaway's beautiful collection. I have a whole video on that you can watch if you're interested. I was also playing more of Angeline Bell's pieces, and they are here too. So let me take this apart for you. Jeff realized that I was kind of feeling like the wire racks looked a little bit haphazard. So one day when I came back to teach, he had installed this wood platform above my keyboard. So underneath this wood is actually another one of those Rubbermaid closet things that go right across like this, and my keyboard slides right under that with just a bit of clearance for the buttons. I don't tend to change the buttons a ton, so it seems to work. We also have these. They're not high, they're not super high function. It was more just a little bit of a sound barrier because, again, I've got really busy boys in the rest of the house over there. I also found I had this beautiful podcast mic, but for teaching online and having a family in the house, I really loved this direct mic that's closer to my mouth, and I hope you're not hearing too much background noise. It's a big improvement over here. So the next thing, if I show you around, I'm in a tight space here. This is my computer. I have it open to StreamYard right now to record for you. So that's me. And this is my computer. I have this really cool stand that goes on a tilt. I'll see if I can lengthen this wire a little bit to show you. Yeah, so it goes like that, and it just holds it at an angle that feels comfortable. And it also pivots, so I can change the direction. I've got it a bit sandwiched in there right now. The next thing I suggest is a mouse that you can bring out. Sometimes I have a mouse pad here too to make sure the ergonomics are fine. And I also have a portable keyboard. I shoved a few things around, so I have my Bluetooth keyboard. And then behind my computer, you'll find audio interface. And right now I have the Scarlett 414, I think, or 4i4. And you can see that this is where my headset is plugged in. It's USB. And then I have line-ins for the keyboard. And I have my plugins over here to charge my keyboard and to power my keyboard. I also have a mic that I love. I don't know if I have enough cord here. I have a mic that I love, or a speaker I love. It's a Yamaha portable speaker. I don't think you can see it. No, I'll have to show that differently. So under my keyboard, I do have our portable performance setup. So if we go to a coffee shop or do an event, that's what I'd use. So feel free to ask me questions in the comments. I'd love to answer you. Lately, I started using this guy for online lessons, and the kids mimic his movements, and we do our stretches together with our little bendy guy. If you have a name idea, let me know. And I think that kind of covers it. So there's a few little random things, like I have binders in the corner. I just did a big resort the other day because I was getting a bit swamped in that. But that's my small space studio. I teach about 26 students right now online, and I absolutely love it. I feel very privileged to also get to record videos and share teaching ideas as well as the music of contemporary composers, and to be able to do that all from home and near my family. So thank you for the opportunity you give me to keep doing this. We'll see you in the next video.